today. If we look like we're a little different today, that's because we're coming to you from the Paramount Studios in Hollywood, California. Hollywood. And I want to get started immediately because, you know, a lot of teenage girls run away, and they run away from home in the middle of the country, all over the country, and they try to come to Hollywood in search of glamour and fame. But they soon realize that the streets aren't just filled with dreams. Some of those dreams are broken dreams that they're filled with, and many of them wind up selling themselves on the streets. And today, we're going to talk with several teen prostitutes about their hopes of getting off the streets for good and trying to make something of their life. And each one is going to reveal a little bit about how they grew up and the fact that they were sexually abused as a child, and that may have been what led them down this path that they've gone to, this path of prostitution. Plus, we're going to talk with a very, very famous Hollywood celebrity who's been spending a lot of time reaching out to teen prostitutes. It's Roseanne. And Roseanne has done a lot of work. Yes, she deserves a hand for that. She came forward with her own story of childhood sexual abuse and has been an inspiration to a lot of these young people who are out there. And we're going to see her in a few minutes. But please, first welcome to the show, Shauna and Brandy. Welcome to the show. Shauna is 14 years old. She ran away from home when she was 11 years old and immediately started working as a prostitute. And by the time she was 12, she was using drugs. At 13, she became addicted to heroin. And Brandy ran away from home when she was 12 and soon after became a prostitute on the street. And I got to ask both of you young ladies, I mean, you're right now 19. Mm-hmm. You were 14 years old. Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, when you were out working, you were working on the streets.
Yeah. And well, I worked in a lot. I worked in hostess bars, on the streets, in and out of clubs, just wherever, truck stops.
Wherever you could pull it.
Wherever you could pull it?
Mm-hmm. Well, wherever we were set, yeah. Wherever there was money to be made.
Now, you were working in both Canada and in Chicago.
Yeah.
You worked primarily where?
I was international. I've been everywhere. I've been to Japan, Washington, all on the East and West Coast. I speak 4 different languages, all because I was a hooker to get my money. You know, I put myself in that predicament because I was so bad. I wanted to go out and show everybody how tough I was and how cool I was. Yeah, real cool, going to jail, you know. First time I went to jail, I was 13 years old in Phoenix, Arizona.
For what?
Prostitution.
Prostitution. Then how many times have you been in jail so far?
I don't. How many times have you aired a show, Montell? I mean,
700.
That's for real. I mean, the police are just, if they see you walking on the street, they just know. I mean, you go out dressed like this or whatever, and they know that you're just they just know you're a prostitute. They'll take you down to the station. I mean,
you know, I'm looking. You have a tattoo, and I'm looking at it. The only reason why I could see it is because where I'm sitting at, it's very, very clear and evident. It says "Daddy" and a money sign.
It says "Daddy's girl."
Daddy's girl. And a dollar sign.
Yeah.
Well, what is that all about?
That was my pimp. It used to have his name right there, but then I got mad and took it off, put Daddy right there. It used to say his name and then his girl.
So you...
I have a whole bunch of tattoos, all coming from them.
All from being a prostitute. How about you?
I got tattooed on my back.
Same thing? You put your pimp's name on it? Did you use a pimp also?
No, I didn't.
But I mean, how does a 12-year-old girl, and I mean, I'm playing this stupid, but how does a 12-year-old girl walk out on the street today and say, I think I'm gonna be a prostitute?
Well, it don't happen
You don't just walk out there and say,
I'm gonna go smoke a rock. It doesn't happen like that.
Well, how does it happen?
You know, it all depends on your circumstances. In my circumstance, it was something that I had to do. I had to do it to survive.
Now, both of you were sexually abused when you were children, is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shauna, you were abused like by 6 or 7 different people from age 3 on? Mm-hmm. Age 3?
Yeah.
So did you learn, I mean, was it for you, I gotta take a little break here, but for the two of you, there are a lot of other young ladies that are out there that have been sexually abused that end up turning this way. As a matter of fact, I think that the stats are now almost 90% of young teen prostitutes on the street.
Gives them the strength. You know, they feel like they ain't worth anyway, so, you know, why not? I mean, you done hit rock bottom when after somebody invades your space. I mean, what else can they?
When you get touched for so long, that's what you know how to do. Something you learn, and I guess it's a resort. So I was touched for so long that when I went out to the streets, it was something. It was hard when I first started, but I just learned to do with it. I just learned to turn my tricks like I did with my daddy.
Not me. I was making them. Every man that ever came to mess with me, I was making him pay for everything that ever happened to me. I'm gonna rob you. I'm gonna take everything that isn't glued down. Whatever I got to do, I don't give a damn about no trick, and no trick don't give a damn about me. He wants what he can get as cheap and as fast as he can get it. You know, I got to take care of me because then them tricks don't care about me. I'm taking your wallet, I'll probably take your kid if it, you know, it ain't tied down because they don't care.
See, you know, this is what we're talking about today, and I gotta tell you, the whole reason why we're even doing this show today is because I want those young ladies that are out there watching this or watching other programs where they make teen prostitution out to be something glamorous, something exotic, where you're gonna get cars and money. Let me tell you something, it's a lot more than you think it is. When we come back, we're gonna talk to another teenage call girl whose best friend is here. She quit prostituting 2 years ago. She wants to be here today to try to talk her best friend out of this business. We'll be back right after this.
They're mistresses for the mob, forced to mask their identity for their own protection.
I keep them happy, I get paid.
Meet women kept by men of the underworld.
You're nothing more than hookers, you're pros.
Take a peek into the very private world of mafia mistresses on the next Montell.
If you just tuned in, we're coming to you from the Paramount lot in Los Angeles, California, and we're talking today with young teen prostitutes. And if you've just tuned in, I've got to tell you, we've done several shows like this in the past. These shows are the shows that seem to grab everybody, and the reason being is because these young ladies are so young, and there are men that are out there in the society that are willing to pay to have sex with 12, 11, 10-year-old people. And this really has got to stop. Please welcome to the show, Christy and her friend Gretchen. And I'm going to say right now that I'm going to introduce Gretchen because what Gretchen does is Gretchen is a call girl. When did you start working as a call girl?
I started doing calls when I left home when I was 14 years old.
14 years old.
I worked in Minnesota, and it's easier there than out here. I got out the yellow pages and looked up escort services, and I called and was like, you know, are you hiring? And they say, well, you know, what are your stats? And it's like, how do you look? You tell them how you look, then they send you on a trial call, and then you get like a review from the guy you go to see, and that's that. And I was really pretty. When I was like young, I looked like different, and I was, I guess, firmer, and they liked that. So
at age 14, you looked firmer and different, so they liked that?
yeah, then now.
And then they called you back up, and you just started
Yeah,
working?
they kept calling. They called the service back and asked to see me. And there was a lady that I had started working with, and when she started, she had 2 lines. And when I finished with her, she had 7. I've always, I guess, been resourceful as far as, you know, having sense to do different things. I'm not gonna let myself get homeless and, you know, just like, you know, just like to nothing, to hit rock bottom. I'm not gonna let myself do that because I do have self-respect and pride. And in this line of work, people don't think you can have that, and I do. Yeah.
Okay. This question's for Shauna and Brandy. What was the reason why you stopped prostitution?
Why we stopped it? Because
Go ahead.
Because it ain't what everybody thinks it is. There's a lot of money involved, but you don't know whether you get in a car or not, whether you're gonna get out of that car, where your mom's gonna get, if your mom's gonna get a call and you're gonna be dead or not. And
you watched one of your own friends die, is that right?
No,
she
You
did.
did. Brandy, you did. When was this?
This was about 3.5 years ago on Sepulveda Boulevard here in LA.
And your friend was prostituting, and what happened?
Yeah, we were out on the track, and she had robbed somebody for about $150. And she took the money home, and then I guess for some reason, you know, whatever the reason was, she came back out. Well, then the trick ended up shooting her. And I was here, and you know, she was on the next corner, and I seen my girlfriend get murdered right across the street, my best girlfriend that I came up with since I had started hoeing. You know, she had a 2-week-old baby.
Yes, this is to Brandy. I'd like to find out, have you contracted any disease now that you're not hooking at this time?
Am I what?
Have you contracted any disease?
Have I contracted
have you contracted any disease? I hope that all of you were practicing safe sex while you were
first of all, there's a trick to everything, you know what I'm saying? And if I did it to everybody I got paid to do it to, I'd be way down here. You know, there's a trick to everything. You could trick everybody, but no, I haven't contracted no diseases. You know, people might think hookers is nasty, whatever, but you know what? I don't think it's a hoe that I know, well, with the exception of a dope fiend, that do something without a condom.
Yes, I'd like to say something about that, too. I wanted, a lot of these guys that have these little girlfriends and everything, they think that they're all this and that. I get, basically, this is like company property. If I get diseased and I smell, or, you know, I have, you can tell someone have disease, no one's going to pay me for that. Who's going to pay for, no one's going to pay for that. It's all these other girls out here that are running around and, you know, I've been always a safety girl practicing
no big fat stank. Man, look.
Yeah, and that's nothing.
I'm better than that. I don't care how much money you got, honey. You need to go take a shower. And if you're not putting on a condom, ain't no money worth my life. Ain't no money worth your life, partner. Remember that.
Yes, ma'am.
Brandy, I had a question. You painted your leaving home as a selfless act designed to save your family. You said that leaving home was very selfless, that you did it in order to save your family, but...
No, that's wrong, because I never said that. Whatever I did, I had to leave home because of something I had did. My family had done nothing. They had tried to help me over.
But you didn't want to put them through any more, is what she's trying to say. What was your question?
And I wondered...
And I was going to go to jail. I was going to go to prison, I mean...
I wondered, you went through the trouble of building this life for yourself, so you're obviously a strong person. Wouldn't it have been easier and more selfless to change your behavior and try and turn around the way your life was then? I don't understand.
Well, you know what? I was real young, right? I wasn't nothing but a child. And as far as me building a life, girl, this ain't no life. You know, you could try to plant your feet in the concrete and you see if you call it a life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess
I had to do whatever I had to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? And little kids, and the point of the show is that these little girls that are, you know, I got a 14-year-old sister that's so fast. She's so fast, and she just, you know, and it breaks my heart because I see myself in her. And if me being on this show, letting down my pride, letting all my friends see me on TV talking about, oh, yeah, I done sold my at the block. If that'll keep another girl off the street, that's what I'm gonna do. You know what I'm saying? I might have cars, jewelry, men, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But then them little girls don't see you coming home with your face all broke up behind a trick that don't cut your head. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know what? Now that's part of this, because a lot of what we're talking about today is not only to try to keep young girls off the street, but there are a lot of other young women out there who were molested also when they were kids, who feel like it's the only way to go. It's the only thing to do now.
It gives them strength to do it. Now, I didn't feel like it was the only way to go because a sorry punk person put their hands on me, no. But it gave me the strength to do it because I didn't feel like I was nothing. After somebody comes in and touches you and takes away that, you know, that something that was yours, I mean, you just feel like you could do just about anything.
It's like if somebody came and robbed your house, right? Anybody here, your house has ever got robbed, you'd walk in and you'd feel like you were violated.
Or somebody murdered your brother. What are you going to want to do? You're going to automatically go turn around and murder his brother.
A lot of girls put themselves at work in situations that really they don't have to put themselves in, and it's.
But that's also.
You can't say what you do in anybody else's shoes till you don't walk in them. You ain't no better because you work in an escort service.
I agree with you. I agree. You're right, because the bottom line, that's the bottom line. You're right, that's the bottom line. I totally agree with that, but my thing is, no, I'm not ashamed of anything I've done, and I've been around the block a couple times. I'm not ashamed of anything I've done. I'm not proud of everything I've done, but you know, there's just a different way of going about doing things. And if there is any girl, I would like to convince.
But at the same time, listen.
Any girl out there that don't make it no better. You selling yours, I'm selling mine. We always doing the same thing.
No, you act like I'm glamorizing things and recommending, and I'm not, because when you love somebody, I'm a married woman. I'm married. You know, I'm in a relationship with someone, and when you love someone, you don't want to do that. You don't want to let them take that from you. But there's if there's a girl out there that is working, I like to say, stop, you know, get out while you can, as fast as you can, because it only takes from, I had it all. I gave it all. She's been taking care of me. She's been taking care of me. Thank God for her.
But the bottom line is, stop a second. Wait, Gretchen, the bottom line is, it's not being a call girl, it's not being a prostitute with a pimp, it's not being a prostitute that does it on your own. Don't get started in prostitution at all.
Exactly.
Okay. All right. Okay. Hold right there. Hold right there.
My mama took care of me. I took care of me. You believe that? With my body part.
No, you see, everything that I've said has been misconstrued, because I know that when I was 14 years old and people were coming at me and they were telling me this, that, and the other, I was not listening. I was doing my own thing. I was doing what I want to do. And once someone has made the decision to do this, if I can't change your mind, then I can only tell her a better way. But I would say that I would try my damnedest to change your mind. But I'm saying there's a better way.
On this show, the bottom line is, I don't want to hear about a better way to be a prostitute.
But you can't.
Stop wait a minute, Brandy. No, what I'm saying is, so the ones that I can't, Gretchen, stop it, you're not listening to me. The ones that I can't convince and are going to do it anyway, those right now, unfortunately, I can't do much for. The ones that I'm trying to stop right now, the ones who are sitting here watching the show and say, well, let's see, I don't want to walk around and be in trailer parks. I don't want to be on a street corner. Maybe if I did it as a call girl, it would be better. There's nothing better.
No, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. I know girls that have
your money to a man if you
whatever. Don't go do it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I gotta take a break. I gotta take a break. We'll come back. But that's what we're talking about.
I'm just kidding, friend.
No.
She thinks she's pimping on. What's really
That's
going
what we're talking about. When we come back, we're going to talk with Roseanne, who has been working with an organization here in California about what she's doing, reaching out to teenagers who are out on the street doing the same kind of things with a very, very special program. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking about teen prostitutes and the fact that it's going on, it continues to go on. You had a question.
Yeah, Gretchen, I don't know, it just seems to confuse me.
Yeah, me too.
What the heck is respect in your dictionary? Because where I come from, respect doesn't happen that way. There's a lot of different things that you can do out there besides prostitution. I mean, no matter if it's in Minnesota or California or New York.
Wait a second, Brandy, stop, Brandy, stop. Hold on. Brandy, hold on. The question is to Gretchen. Hold on a second.
I'm not trying to say that, degrade you by any chance at all. I'm just asking you, how can you call it respect?
Okay.
That's just my main question.
All right, this is to Gretchen. Go ahead, Gretchen.
I care about myself and my family, and there's a lot of people that are really, important to me in my life. And if I see somebody going without something, regardless if I know you or not, if I see somebody that needs something, or if I have more than what I need and more than what the next person has, I'm gonna try to help you. But I know that when I was young, I didn't know what else to do. Even now, people don't look at me to say, oh, well, yeah, she's really smart, this or that. I am very intelligent, and I'm not gonna be belittled by anybody. And I'm calling the shots in a lot of things that I do. And I do have a lot of respect. I'm not gonna have, people calling me out. Everything I've done for me, and I've done it on my own. I haven't had any help from anybody.
Now, Christy, you've stepped in to try to get your friend off the street. Why?
Not off the street.
Well, not off the street, but out of prostitution.
Out of the business.
Well, when did you left the business 2 years ago?
Right.
Were you on the streets? Were you in the where were you at in this business?
Pretty much on the streets.
On the streets.
Yeah.
Now, you have stuck by your friend trying to convince her to give it up. Why? I mean, if everything's so perfectly fine, like she says, it's something that's her choice.
I'm not saying that.
Then why are you sticking by to try to help her out?
Because I know what it can do to you. I mean, it took me having a baby at 18 years old and my baby died. It took me to realize, what am I doing here, And it's like I look at her and then I see myself. Everything I've done.
And you've been out of this now for 2 years. So, I mean, how So now you're kind of like the ex-prostitute mentoring. What are your conversations like with Gretchen to convince her to stop? Because obviously she hasn't stopped. Gretchen, hold on a minute. Hold on. Because obviously she hasn't stopped for you to be so concerned to make her to want to get involved. What are you trying to tell her?
Well, our conversations are basically about what's going on with her, what she's doing. And really, I can't really say much to her to make her stop or whatever. All I can do is say, I'm your friend, I'm here for you. And when you don't want to do it anymore, regardless, all those other people that were there when she was out doing prostitution, other things, where are they now? I'm the only one that's here.
Christy, tell these people, have I been working? You guys act like I'm saying it's all fun and games, and it's not. I've never tried to turn any girl out, and I never would. I never took any money from anybody. I've always tried to help the girls that have been around me. I'm not saying it's glamorous, I'm not saying I don't want to stop, but when it's the only thing you've done. And I know I can do more, but you can't get something from nothing. And I've tried. I haven't done a call in 2 months. I've been staying in hotels. I haven't been shopping. I haven't been, that's what my life was, shopping. I stay in a hotel room. I keep the windows closed and the door locked. As I go outside, it's like a freak show. People just look at you and think if you got a pretty face, then that's all you are. And that's not all I am. I'm very intelligent, and I can break a lot of people down.
Wait a second, Montell. All I'm saying
and you're taking it like I'm saying, well, if you're a car girl, then you're better than a track hoe. That's not what I'm saying, because the bottom line is still the same. Selling your ass is selling your ass. That's the bottom line. I understand that, but I'm just saying, if there's somebody out there that wants to quit, try, call me, I'll tell you what I know, and that's all I can do. But when people, I wish that I had somebody that knew what I know now when I was 14 years old.
You know what? Now, you know what you know now, but you haven't completely quit the business.
Because right now, I don't have too much of another choice. What am I going to do? Am I going to go sleep in the street?
No,
I have pride. I have self-respect. I'm not going to go lay down in this. I have nobody out here in California where I live. I have nobody.
But you know what? That's the reason why our next guest is here. Hold on a minute, because there is somebody here. Our next guest, hold on a minute.
She can't take care of me.
The guest that we have that's coming out right now, this lady, and a lot of you don't know a lot about her. You know her from her hit television series, but you don't know that this woman has been working with an organization in California called Children in the Night. She reached into her pocket and gave $135,000 just to keep this organization running. But it's not about money. It's not about giving money, because that's not what they need. They don't need money. They get that easily. They need some support. They need some help. They need somebody who's willing to give some time. And that's what our next guest has been doing. And as people talk about her the way they want to talk about her, you can say whatever you want, but this woman is giving beyond herself to come out and work with young ladies who are on the street. Please welcome to our show now, Roseanne. I really wanted you out here now. If you tuned in because you think we're going to talk about Roseanne and what's going on in the Roseanne show, forget it. That's not what this is about today. This is about what you just saw. This girl's in pain. There are a lot of you little girls out there in pain.
A lot of little boys, too.
A lot of little boys out there in pain. Why did you decide to get involved with Children in the Night?
Something is really wrong with our collective head in this country and, of course, in the world, that we would sit there and say whether or not any of these girls are, good or bad or doing the right thing or whatever. These girls are children. And every one of them are younger than the 4 children I have. They are children. And one of the devastating outcomes of child sexual abuse is prostitution. And everybody knows that. Everybody's known that forever. This is what happens. This is the price you pay. And this is where you end up. And until this society really, really deals with that, I think that it's going to kill us all.
Good.
I'm a good person before I'm anything. I am a good mother. I do not do drugs. I'm a good person before I'm anything. And that's one thing that you people need to see is that we're good people. Just because we got to do whatever we got to do, we're still good people.
Child sexual abuse so violates children down to your core that sometimes you don't even have a core. And all sex workers, because there is a worldwide billion-dollar sex industry in the world, and children are commodities that are bought and sold. And all sex workers, from strippers to prostitutes to everything, have to go through a form of what's called dissociation to do what they do.
And that means just pull themselves completely
That means
out
when
of the
you're
act.
little and something happens to you sexually, when you're sexually abused when you're a young child, you learn to separate your entire body from the act that's going on. And that's how you survive. That's how you survive your entire life. And it's how women and men who are sex workers do it. It's something you learn in childhood, so you don't just get over it. It isn't something that you just get over. It's the only thing you know, and the only thing you know is to take bad things and to dissociate yourself from the bad thing. And so this is the logical job that you end up having.
And that's what Gretchen is saying, because this is all you know, but I got to tell you, like your friend has said, there's something better for you out there, and that's what we're going to get to.
I know that, and you guys act like this is, I'm more than this. I think that a lot of you people out there that are looking down on me, talking bad about me, I could break you down in tears in a conversation. You know, I'm very intelligent.
But that's not what it's all about. Nobody's questioning your intelligence.
That's what it's about, and everybody's doing that, acting like, you know, I think that I'm no better than being a prostitute.
I feel that there was a lot of judging going on of these girls that is not right.
Okay, well, let's take a break.
Because you don't judge the child. You judge the person who does it to the child.
I agree. We'll take a little break and we'll be back. When we come back, we're going to meet a mother who rescued her teenage daughter from some men who were trying their best to turn her out. We'll meet her later on the show. I'll get your question when I come back. We'll be back right after this. We've been talking today to teen prostitutes who are trying their best to get off the streets, stay off the streets, stay out of call girl services, and stop prostituting. And there's an organization here in LA that does tremendous work with teenagers who are runaways, teenagers who are prostituting, teenagers who are in trouble on the streets. Please welcome its director and founder, Dr. Lois Lee, for Children of the Night Center. And Dr. Lee, and throughout this entire show, we have been running a number up there, and we're going to continue to run this number until the show is over for all of you out there watching the show, because this center is in dire need of support, financial support. Yes. And I'll say it straight up. I mean, you know, if you watch this show every day, there are very few times that I ask you out there to send money into something. You see the number on the screen, take $1, take $2. If everybody watched this show today, sent them $2 to this organization, we could help a lot of other kids get off the streets. Do it today. You've seen our conversation, and I think one thing I got to clear up right now, no one in this audience, no one here wants to say that any of you were putting any of you down for the level of what you do, but we got to tell you what we want you to do is stop, because we want you to stop and be an example for the other kids out there who are looking up to you.
I'd like to address that first of all. If someone cuts off a child's both of their arms, we all say, oh my goodness, that's a terrible, terrible thing. And we see that immediately. What we don't understand is that when we sexually abuse a child, we cut off both their arms. We just don't see that visibly. And when these kids go out to become prostitutes, they don't go out to become prostitutes. They've been sexually abused. They carry a certain body language because of the sexual abuse. And when they go to the grocery store, men come up to them and offer them money for sex. It is the predators and the people that exploit these children that turn them into prostitutes, not these children. And I'd like to also say that Roseanne is the first person in Hollywood. She's our largest Hollywood celebrity contributor. She's the first person who's come out. She is the first person who's come out to spend time with these kids. She comes out, she volunteers regularly with these kids, works with these kids, helps them develop monologues, counsels these kids. She's an active volunteer, and we really need more people like her. And I just want to say thank you for that, because Hollywood's really denied this problem.
I want to say that that's one, probably the major reason why I want to do it, because I work in an industry that glorifies prostitution with Pretty Little Movies starring Julia Roberts and this type of stuff, and Melanie Griffith, and you know, it's just it just makes me sick. It makes me so sick that that kind of immoral and disgusting, sick stuff gets pumped out there. And I know that what happens is that kids at home who already have been sexualized and conditioned to be sexualized, they see these movies and they all want to come out to Hollywood and be a movie star. Well, they leave a terrible place and they come to Hollywood and they live on the streets, and there's nothing else that they know how to do. And gee, we have to stop that. We have to, Hollywood really needs to stop glorifying prostitution.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
My question is to Brandy. What did you do with the money you've made, and who cared for your children doing prostitution, and what are you doing with yourself now?
Hey, first of all, I paid a pimp with my money.
You what's that again?
I paid a pimp with my money. I had a pimp. And as ignorant as that might sound to y'all, say, man, that girl's stupid. She going out there selling her so she can give it to a pimp. Well, then that's not always true, because you know what? You know, you can't go out on certain tracks. I mean, if it's real hookers out there, I mean, you got your crackhead tracks that you turning $5 and $10 days or doing it for crack or whatever. But then where the real pimps and hoes are at, you know what I'm saying, the high class tracks like between Sunset, like on Sunset Boulevard and Sweet, so you see those girls out there in the minks or whatever, and the men with the long hair, you know, driving the Jaguars and stuff. You have to have somebody like that out there. Them girls gonna tear you up.
Pimp was the daddy and the male figure that she was always looking to try and find in her life. It's important to understand that. I mean, that's what daddy is all about when it's tattooed on her chest.
Yeah, that was my daddy, because even though my mama always stood by me, and my stepfather, I resented my stepfather because he wasn't mine. You know, my daddy went off and let me. They always say you can't trust your daddy.
But you know,
that's what pimps are all about, and that is what they're trained to learn how to do to go and recruit these children.
That's right.
Is to go out and act in the manipulative way that your father acted, and that's what they respond to.
But then they got longer hair and nails than women. You know, they ain't nothing but a bunch of punks anyway.
It looks like a good version of your father.
No, they're too lazy to work and too dumb to steal.
It's the exact same game.
You got it. Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I don't look down on you at all because I can understand your position. But Gretchen had said that she was resourceful and she never reached rock bottom. Well, don't you feel that you emotionally reached rock bottom?
Exactly.
Emotionally,
exactly. Right.
Well, you know what? And Gretchen, that's the reason why we wanted to do this show, and not to cast any shadow on you, but right now that you are reaching out, because you called the show. You pointed that out very clearly. You did. Christy is here as support for you, but you called us because you wanted some help. The bottom line is you wanted some help.
Right.
Let's get you that help now.
Children of the Night's willing to help you. I'm more than happy to help you. Just because you're 18 years of age, it means you can't come into shelter, but there are other things we can do for you. We can help you get a job. We can help you find a place to live, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about that.
Now, will you do that now? You look for that? All right, I got to take another little break. I'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this and continue. We'll be back in just a second. We have been talking about teen prostitution throughout this show. We've been putting a number up on the screen. If you are in trouble, you know someone who's in trouble and they need some help, please dial that number. And so right now, please welcome Ann Dion to the show. And we're talking about prostitution and its allure to young girls, and you took extreme measures to get your daughter out of a prostitution. How did you do this? What happened?
4 pimps went into my daughter's junior high school and were trying to recruit several young girls. And they were in my house. Did
you know they were pimps at the time? You weren't aware of this?
No, and that's part of the recruiting program, is to recruit the whole family into it. You know, everybody. The pimp becomes the main focus of the child's life, and to get that trust of the child, he tries to win the trust of the family as well. There was 4 of them involved. They had been in my house and took my daughter out one night. They'd gone for a couple of hours, then the next thing you know, she had disappeared. So I took matters into my own hands. I phoned the police, and there was no help from the police, so I took matters into my own hands. A friend of mine and I, we went undercover, dressed as prostitutes, infiltrated the prostitution scene, and forcibly removed my daughter out of a hotel room where she was being programmed. They were giving her an 8-ball of cocaine a day. So I kicked the doors in. He pulled a .357 Magnum on me. I had my own gun, so I got my daughter back, and he's gone.
Now, and I gotta say, you've told your story, but for every mother who is out there, this is not something I'm gonna tell any mother to go and do. This was heroic action on your part.
This is a true story, and ABC has done a movie of the week that'll air in the first of the year about Ann's experiences and how it led up to that and what she actually did to recruit her daughter. It's a true story.
But these guys they basically schemed. They were trying their best to program your daughter. And for those mothers that are out there, what could they have seen, what could you have seen 3 days before they abducted your daughter to help another mother who might be in the same situation?
Well, I think any new friends, you know, that come into your community, these guys don't have the typical look that people would think they might look like. They look like the boy next door. The girls start letting go of their straight friends, and
So
eventually...
we have to go back to the elementary school. I mean, most little girls know by age 11 or 12 what a prostitute is. They don't know it's a horrible kind of thing. But they don't know what a pimp is. Most parents don't know what a pimp is. We have this like blackout in the media in terms of educating people to how a pimp operates, how he befriends kids, and that's something that really needs to be dealt with more. It's not just weirdo kids. These are sophisticated con men, and it happens all over the world.
Yeah, I have a question.
You know, it's just like, it really makes me sick that everybody cannot get over the lurid bad girl who sells sex thing.
Right.
It's sickening.
It's
very sickening, and it like is, to me, it's the voice of the perpetrator that we hear over and over and over again.
Okay. I got to take a break with that now. I'm going to get your question when we come back. But that's the important part about this, what you just said. We are picking on the examples of what's going on all over this nation. And they right now have a 14-year-old, an 18-year-old, and a 19-year-old on the stage, but there are 12-year-olds out there, 11-year-olds out there,
5-year-olds
10-year-olds
out
out there,
Montell.
5s out there selling this. And we got to stop this. We'll be back right after this.
Mistresses for the mob, forced to mask their identity for their own protection.
I keep them happy. I get paid.
Take a peek into the very private world of mafia mistresses on the next Montell.
Yes, ma'am, you had a question.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the panel, what do you all see yourself doing as far as jobs are concerned down the line? And I have to answer another question.
Okay, yeah. What do you think you'll be doing later on? Christy, what do you want to do?
Well, right now I stay home and just take care of my daughter, and I pretty much don't really want to do anything now at the moment. And maybe in a couple of years or so, I want to be, you know, a teacher for kindergarten kids or do something with kids. But I don't really see myself doing anything at this point in time.
Okay, Gretchen, what about you? What would you want to do if you could get out of this business completely, get the help that you need?
Eventually, I'd like to get into politics and run for president.
Okay. Enough. Shauna, how about you? What would you want to do?
I don't know. Right now, I'm just going to school and trying to get on my feet.
Brandy, how about you?
Well, you know, it's one thing I could say about me prostituting. It has put me through school. I got my cosmetology license, my interior decorating license. I do have a high school diploma or my GED. So then it ain't too much that I really can't do because I'm not stupid.
So if that's the truth, why would you even think about going back to it?
Prostitution is an addiction.
Okay.
Okay, and there needs to be, if I can say this, a lot of Prostitutes Anonymous springing up around the country, hopefully. You can put it together in your community. It is an addiction to sex and to the con game, and it's like everybody who's abused, or most people who are abused, end up with some sort of addiction, drug or something, and this is another one.
So what we have to do is get them out of the addiction.
There's programs. There's no treatment programs throughout the country. And Children of the Night, I mean, it has kids coming in from Washington, D.C., from Vancouver, Canada, all over the world because of the fact that there is no place for them. It's not a priority.
We need to raise people's consciousness about this issue, get some truth around it, instead of the old Hollywood story and the old myths and the old bad girl stuff. And we need to raise consciousness, and we need to do a lot of work.
You're not kidding. Yes, ma'am.
Gretchen.
Go right ahead.
But Gretchen, I want to ask you, what is your husband and how do you feel about this?
My husband and I got married for like the wrong reasons. When he got out of the pen, he was out for like 2 weeks, and I seen him once, and we got married, and I couldn't have him around me doing what I was doing, but he couldn't take care of me at the time, and it's not that I wanted him to take care of me, but you know, you can't have a husband and live this life, because I can't, you know, they don't go hand in hand, and
okay, but
it's the reason for us separating. When he got out of the pen, I was doing this again, and because I didn't do it when we were.
But now you got to stop, and what we have to do is treat the real problem to make them stop. Is that what both of you were saying?
That's what we're saying, yes.
All right, we'll take a little break. We'll be back right after this. We have been talking about teen prostitutes, and one of the things that we have done throughout the show is talk about what these girls do themselves and some young boys do, but what people are not even addressing is the fact that for this audience that's sitting here, there are people, and I'm not saying right here in these seats, but look just like us that are out there paying these kids to do what they do. Right. There are people who look just like us. There's a reason why there's an 11 and a 12-year-old girl out on the streets or boy out there selling themselves. We need to do something about them also.
And also child pornography is another multi-billion-dollar business. And I would like to say about Children of the Night before we leave, and I don't get to say this. in a town that sells youth and sex, so, I mean, then we wonder why this happens and why people come to this. I'm talking about Hollywood. There is a place where these children can go and get help. And I know that Lois, they have a van, and they cruise Hollywood Boulevard in this van with a bullhorn, and they say, if you are on the street and a pimp is coming up to you, get in this van right now and we will take you to a safe place. They have an 80% success rate with these children to get them apartments, to get them jobs. This is a program that needs to be replicated all across the country, but especially, you know, the big cities where children run away to.
It can't be replicated unless it's funded, and so then again, I'm going to say one more time.
It needs to be funded.
That's right.
And so,
if you've got
give a number, if you get it at all, if you have been sexually abused, and that's 1 out of 3 girls and 1 out of 4 boys, could you send $1? And in this town that glorifies youthful sexuality, like some of these television shows that, you know, just blow me away. These people that are producing this stuff and getting rich off it, could they feel some guilt maybe for 1 hour and send $1 of the millions and millions of dollars they make?
Well, you know what, now I can tell you, our audience, the people who view this show are very good at reaching in and digging out in their pocket and sending some money in, but I think if we combine both, look, if we combine your ratings and mine.
I want to tell you, Montell, that most children who go into prostitution die. It's true.
Well, you know what, but if we combine your ratings for your show and my ratings for our show, we could fund this program in about 50 cities across the country.
Well, that'd be great.
So maybe everybody who watches Roseanne, send $1. Everybody who watches us, send $1. Hell, we'll build one in every city. Yes, ma'am.
This is to Dr. Leah Roseanne. What exactly does the Children of the Night program do? And is it only for prostitutes, or is it for, like, children who have ran away from home?
It's for any child who's sexually abused who's on the streets, or any child who's sexually abused even at home. We have intervention programs for them. It's a 24-hour nationwide toll-free hotline, a street outreach program in Southern California, and a 24-bed shelter home located in Van Nuys.
But the only way this can be expanded is if we get some extra funds.
It's done all with private money. If we get involved in taking government money, we'll only be able to help a child once, and if they go back to the streets after 24 hours, the government writes them off.
Okay, so we need to get...
The key is awareness, and the more shows that we do with awareness, the more people understand that kids like Shauna are victims. They're not criminals, and they deserve to be helped. And they have no shame. This child has no shame. She hasn't done anything wrong.
We'll take a break. We'll be back right after this.
To order video cassettes of the Montell Williams Show, call 1-800-FOR-VIDEO. Major credit cards accepted. Please indicate show date and topic.
We're out of time, so I want to thank all of our guests for being here. Lois Lee, for your work. Please continue to do that. And if you've been watching this show and you feel 1 ounce of compassion, reach in your pocket, take $1, send it in to Children of the Night. Roseanne, I can't say enough, but thank you for being here. You wanted to say one more thing.
I wanted to say that I do believe that there is a war in the world, and the war is against children. And I want to be a soldier in that war. And I think that these girls, when we talk about the future, the things they can do, you can join the Army, our Army. And I like to say, these are America's homegrown refugees.
That's a fact. So I'll tell you what, you just enlisted another colonel for your Army. I'll be a part, okay? Join us on the next Montell Williams Show.